Of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
For over a decade, one movement surged through college campuses all across the country. What started off as a small group of conservative debaters turned into one of the most influential organizations in American politics, Turning Point USA. And the man behind it, Charlie Kirk. Charlie's star grew, but his mission stayed the same: empower young Americans to embrace faith, freedom, and family, and open debate. But everything changed on September 10th. Charlie's death was a turning point for the country. We all remember where we were when we found out Charlie died. And we remember how we felt: sickened, and then resolute. Charlie's gone, but his mission is far from over. Today, the new chapter begins, and his widow Erika is taking the reins. Fox was lucky enough to get unprecedented access behind the scenes with Erika and the whole Turning Point team. They're picking up the torch and carrying a movement that Charlie created. And from here, it's only getting bigger. But to understand how we got here, we have to go back to how it all started. And that's where we begin. My exclusive sit-down interview with Erika Kirk. Who was Charlie Kirk?
I can't help but smile when I hear his name or say it. He was the love of my life, still is. Phenomenal father. Incredible man, good friend, very loyal. He had a great dry sense of humor. He built something so incredible, and he was a bridge in our country, meaning he had the gift of communication. He could talk to the younger generations. He could talk to a donor group. He could talk to the President of the United States.
Charlie and Erika first met through their mutual friend, the now COO of Turning Point, Tyler Boyer. Erika, a college athlete and former Miss Arizona, had graduated from Arizona State University. She was living in New York City. And Tyler had what he thought was the perfect job for her.
He said, "We have this youth organization, would love to get you involved." I briefly met Charlie for maybe 2 minutes. Quick handshake, "Hi, nice to meet you." Mind you, I did not know after that brief meeting that Tyler and Charlie had sat down, and Tyler was like, "This is the girl that I need to hire for something with regard to the faith component of the outreach that they were trying to start." And he was like, "So next time you're in New York, you really should sit down with her." And then that kind of sparked into everything else.
They did end up having that meeting in New York, and what started as a job interview quickly drew the spark that Erika was talking about.
And so then we had a great time, and it was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her, and now we know how that worked quite well.
He grilled me for hours. Grilling's probably not the proper term, but we debated back and forth. Philosophy, politics, theology, anything that Charlie loved to talk about, we talked about it. And afterwards, he was done eating, and he just looked at me and he goes, "I'm not gonna hire you." And I said, "I did not need the job." I said, "I was fine with consulting with you guys if you needed anything with regard to help. I had plenty of things going on in New York City." He said, "I'm gonna date you." I said, "You don't wanna just be friends for a little bit?"
And I told her I had enough friends and that I didn't want to be friends with her, so that was kind of a non-starter. But if she wanted to date, that would be great. I had enough friends. And I think she still finds that to be very funny, but I meant it.
And I tried to process that on the walk home, and that's when I called my mom. And she was like, oh, are you working with them? Are you going to get a job with them? And I was like, no, but I got a boyfriend. And it was a moment. I literally had to walk home to process everything that just happened because, again, the Lord knew that I needed a man that was going to be so assertive, not play games, not say, yeah, let's just be friends and see how it goes. Let's just talk it out. But no, he was so direct. He was so clear. I want to date you with the intention of marrying you. He didn't want to waste his time. He didn't want to waste mine.
When did you know you were in love?
He knew immediately. And I knew there was something there. But I, prior to that, was praying that if he was to be my future husband, that the Lord would make it so clear that I would have such a peace about it, outside of wearing a suit, outside of work-related events. And he just wasn't anything.
Turning Point meant a lot too. This campus was just 2 buildings at the time, but the organization was already well on its way to becoming a force in American politics.
You know, it's funny about leftists on college campuses. They think they're being rebels, yet all their friends are liberal, their teachers are liberal, the music they listen to is liberal, the textbooks they read are liberal, the entire culture they live in is liberal. They're being conformists. If you want to be a rebel on campus, be a conservative on a college campus. There's nothing rebellious about that.
He would just engage with everything. That there was no separation between his work life and his home life. And I was so proud of him. And I would tell him, baby, you don't have to rush home. When you come home, home is waiting for you. I was never the type of wife that looked at my phone and said, okay, you better be home at 5 o'clock for dinner when I have it on the table. Never. I said, home is here for you when you get home. Dinner will be ready whenever you're ready to eat. I will never make you feel guilty for pursuing what the Lord has put on your heart.
Did you know right away that Charlie was destined for something larger than life?
Charlie has a great disposition about him, so I knew that he was never going to be just, he operated, everyone knew this, the way he operated his life, he wasn't going to waste time, he wasn't going to waste the one life that the Lord has blessed him with. When you get married to someone you love, you never think, oh, I mean, at least we didn't, what our future was going to look like. It's not that you sign up for something. You just marry the love of your life, and however that unfolds, it unfolds. And we both have very similar understandings, and I knew, obviously I knew his life would be important. All of our lives are important, but all I cared about was loving him and being a wife to him, being a mother to his children. That to me was so much more important. Everything else I could care less.
Charlie was so disciplined. He had his routine.
I know.
He worked out.
He did.
He did his reading.
Yes.
Are you now stepping into that?
Him and I are very similar from the standpoint of making yourself a better person as life goes on. We all live many lives, and we all are constantly trying, at least Charlie and I, we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. We always work out, we have the same trainer, because him and I are athletes. It always goes back to the basic and simple things. He loved eating clean, he loved all of that stuff, but something that was so powerful about Charlie is that he mastered self-control. He mastered, he would say, know your nature. He mastered that. He perfected that. From the standpoint of, yes, he was very hard on himself. I have the journals to prove it. Very hard on himself. But he held himself to such a high standard because he wanted the people that were around him to be better also. He wasn't going to be a leader that told people what to do and not do it.
He worked so hard.
He did.
He was the hardest working person in my business I've ever seen. Was that hard for you guys to balance that work and the family?
So when we first started dating and when we were first married, we would travel everywhere together. We were on the road 350 some days out of the year. And then once we had our first child, it was an adjustment period because I wanted to be home with our little one, but He was so good about always wanting to come home. Always wanted to come home. And I wanted to make sure that he wanted to come home. Again, that's why I never said, what are you doing? Why are you gone? Why are you traveling so much? I never had those questions because I knew his heart and I knew what he was doing was so important. And he always included me in it. And there were times where I would go to his events and there were times where I wouldn't, but it was a family-oriented mission. So I never once was threatened by that because I was a part of it.
He wrote you letters. Charlie wrote you letters. Every week?
Every Saturday. So he would turn his phone off to honor the Sabbath. He would come in, open the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer. Open the junk drawer, said Shabbat Shalom, put it in there, turn the phone off, slam the door, and he felt so free because he was unreachable for 24, 48 hours.
Did you see Charlie change in the 7 years that you knew him? How did he change?
When he became a father, and you know this, when you become a parent, it changes you. When you become a husband or a wife, it changes you. I mean, being on the altar and making a covenant with the Lord and saying, this is my person, it changes you. You become one. Everything becomes one. Nothing is separated. And it was just powerful because I got to see him grow, not just in wisdom. He read a lot of books. Wisdom, but he grew in patience. And you can see that on campus too. You see the evolution of him going from holding the mic all the time to then putting it down, taking a sip of his tea, throwing in a throat coat, and just listening. You could see how he evolved into this incredible man who he mastered himself.
He became more tranquil as he grew older.
He did, and that was a huge testament to his faith because he realized more and more, this is not about Charlie Kirk.
Is there one thing that you know about Charlie that no one else knows that you want to share?
Okay, so he would name all of my daughters and my son's stuffed animals, every single one of them. His favorite animal was the platypus. It's so random, but it's so funny because it was such a utility animal, and it's not even an animal you would think of. And I remember when I went to the San Diego Zoo with my daughter, and we found the platypus shirt there, and I had her put it on, and Charlie was like, how did you find that shirt? And I was like, we just so happened to go to the zoo and they had a platypus. He was blown away.
I'm glad we didn't embarrass him too much there.
Yeah.
We saw these clips go viral afterwards about him being a father.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some of those.
It's so fun. That was a great day.
So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City. Right near this very table was the first time Dad met Mama. And it started as a job, and I was asking all these questions. Philosophy, religion, Jesus.
So fun. He was so fun.
What kind of relationship did he have with each child?
When you ask that, I can't get this image out of my head of, you know, this feeling too, where you see your husband come home, or you as the father come home, and the kids just run to you. His relationship with them was so precious because they're so little. So it's not like you're teaching them these amazing things, but somehow he still found a way to incorporate it in little ways. But his relationship with them was so pure and precious because you see him being on stage in front of thousands of people, commanding the presence, telling them all about Western civilization, telling them all about what's going on in the world, telling them why they should care. And then you see him come home and just be a dad. Go play with them in the pool. Love on them. Tickle them. Play with them. Like, even if it was just with his stuffed animals. Play with them.
What do you see of him
in the kids? It's funny because my son loves to throw balls and baseball bat and footballs. And my sweet daughter, she's starting now to want to say little speeches So we all are like sitting there to listen. But you know what's so sweet is that my daughter's starting to want to put our son to bed at night in his crib. And so it's very meticulous of how it's done. So it's a little bit Charlie of like making sure that's the right rhythm. And we put him in the crib, and then I say, okay, mommy's leaving. And she sits there, and I just watch her on this video of singing Jesus Loves Me to him. And that's the song that Charlie would sing to her. Never said, okay, no, you need to sing that to your brother. So I feel like it's little moments like that where I'm like, that's you, Charlie. That's you. You're there. Yeah.
You're very protective of your children's privacy.
Yes.
As Charlie's profile grew, were you concerned?
We live in a day and age where the internet feels so entitled to everything. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, explain this, explain that. And we live in a world where children don't even have a childhood anymore. You know, why are you posting a photo of your kid so that you can get $50 off a stroller? Like, that does not make sense to me.
Crazy.
If you can't afford a stroller, buy one you can afford. Like, that makes sense to me. But to use your child or a photo of you standing in the bathroom embracing them specifically, and you have 500 copies of that same pose so you can get it right for social media, is bizarre to me. And it was to Charlie too. And our babies are not for anyone else's viewing other than ours in our family. And why would I want AI images of my children out there? Why would I want, and yeah, we get kidnapping threats, we always have. We get death threats, we always have. You're just smart about it. Protect what you love. Protect who you love.
I want to show you a video of Charlie talking about TPUSA.
Okay.
Well, you're about to embark on something that is much bigger than yourself. This is about us. This is about the country. And the eyes of the whole nation are again on Turning Point. We're building something bigger than you, bigger than me. We're building an experience to help save the country. And if this type of intensity bothers you, well, then don't go work for Turning Point USA. You can go work for the Department of Labor or something, okay? Because here we do excellent things. We do big things. We make history here at Turning Point USA. It's going to be early mornings, it's going to be late nights, but you all get to know that you're doing something rewarding. That is not just, a career, you check the box, but lives will be changed. How blessed are we that we get to be here celebrating the country, and this is our job. It's pretty awesome. There's the one thing that I hear from speakers throughout all the years. Your team is so impressive, and they're so young. Why is it, everybody? Because for us, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. This is not just another DC gig. This is about saving Western civilization.
It's the longest video I've watched of him. Just give me a second.
Take your time. Charlie was on a mission to save Western civilization. Did you know that's what you signed up for?
Well, no, I didn't sign up for anything. I just married the love of my life. Just so happens that that's what he was doing.
Tell me about the day before the shooting.
He was at the office, and we were going to meet for dinner beforehand with a dear friend of ours who I wanted to just be with us and pray with us before the event. It's no hidden secret that stuff on campus is heating up. You see people on campus coming on with guns prior to the event that happened with Charlie, the assassination with Charlie. And so I know that, you and I even talked about how I used to say, Charlie, have you ever thought about wearing a vest? He would nod to that and be like, I've looked into it. But he would always say, if they're gonna get me, they're gonna get me. He wasn't afraid. Wouldn't have mattered anyways if you wore a vest.
Erika's mom was dealing with a medical issue, so she stayed in Phoenix to care for her. She planned to join Charlie at the next scheduled Turning Point event at Colorado State just a few days later.
He was like, home needs you. Home needs you. Be home. Come with me on Thursday to the next event we have. And so for him, that night, he was so excited. I mean, he just was like, I can't wait, it's gonna be the best. And he got up around 2:45, 3-ish to go into the kitchen to grab a snack. And our daughter had woke up around that same time. We live in a small space, so you can kind of hear when everyone's kind of shuffling around. And so she came to our room, and she stayed in our bed. And he always loved when Gigi slept in our bed because she's, you know, little ones, they like curl up inside of you and they're just nuzzled in. But you also know that it can be very acrobatic when a 3-year-old is in your bed and somehow their feet end up on your face. So I said, I want you to have a good night's sleep. Go ahead and sleep in her room. And I'll turn the air down so it's nice and cozy in there. And I just want you to get a good night's sleep so you can be amazing tomorrow. And so Gigi and I stayed in our room. And that morning he woke up super early and he came into our bedroom, into the bathroom, because that's where his wedding ring was and his necklace. And he came in and he grabbed that. And then he left. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
When we return,
he was at peace. And I gave him a kiss. One of the hardest moments of my life was leaving him in that room.
You live for those moments when he just walked down and was throwing the hats, and students, he loved Gen Z and young people, and there's just this sea of endless crowds of people. You couldn't even see the end. He was throwing out hats, and then it's just, still processing it.
Sadly, we just started getting word just a couple of moments ago that Charlie Kirk has been shot.
how did you find out Charlie had been shot?
Was at my mom's doctor's appointment. I have my phone and I see the video coming of him flinging out the hats. And I said, Mom, look, it started. So we saw the hats being flung. I put my phone down and it was on silent, so I had no reason to look back at it. I moved my mom. I went back to grab my phone, and that's when Mikey started calling me. He called me within seconds.
I called Erika. I just remember it rang like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know what to say. Those are the words that will change someone's life forever, and you have to be the one to say it. That was the first time I've ever called her during a campus tour stop.
And so Mikey called me, and I'll never forget him just being like, Charlie's been shot. He's been shot, get the kids. Get security, get the kids, get the kids, he's been shot. I sprinted out of her treatment center. I just collapsed in the middle of the parking lot. Called our security. Yeah. Unbelievable nightmare.
The communications director of Turning Point USA has asked our team to give a moment of silence and prayer. And so we're going to do that right now. We're going to pause and offer our prayer. We hope you join along. However, and to whomever you pray, I hope in this moment that you can pray for Charlie Kirk.
There was a moment there where people thought Charlie would survive.
Mm-hmm. There was so many things going on at that one moment. It was so hard to actually know and hear what was going on because you're getting phone calls in and out, and hindsight, the way the bullet hit him, he died instantaneously.
He was pronounced dead.
He died on the scene. But I'm so glad he didn't suffer. Excuse me. I'm so glad he didn't suffer. No one deserves to suffer. But him, of all people. So he literally blinked and probably thought he was raptured and looked around and was like, where's everybody else? He blinked and he was with the Lord.
And you wanted to see Charlie immediately and came up. Take us through that.
We landed in Utah, went straight to the hospital. When you walked in, everyone was just, it was a scene from just a horror movie. Everyone is so rattled to the core. Officers, law enforcement, hospital workers, our team, everyone is just shaken. And we get into the room. One of the law enforcement guys comes in. It's very sweet, but what do you say to someone whose husband just was assassinated so publicly? I said, I've been doing this for 30-some years. He said, I will never tell you that you cannot see your husband. He said, but I, in my professional opinion, think that you should wait to see him once he's at the mortuary. Because I don't think you want to see him like this. The room got quiet because half the room knew it's probably a good idea. And the other half of the room was like, there is no way she's listening to you right now. And I responded back to him and I said, with all due respect, sir, I said, I want to see what they did to my husband. And I want to give him a kiss, because I didn't get to give him a kiss this morning. And I said the same thing to the doctor. When the doctor came in, I said, I want to see my husband. He said, I'll make sure that happens. And I did. And I got to see him. And when we walked into that room, he still looks so alive. Because he just, and I'm just so glad I saw him, because you know this, when you see someone pass at the mortuary, they never look the same when they're at the mortuary. They have this awful makeup and they're cold, and he was still warm and his eyes were slightly open. It was so powerful, Jesse. He had this smirk on his face. It was so sweet. He had this smirk on his face where it meant three things to me. First, that he died doing what he loved. The second was that he was at peace. And I gave him a kiss. Gave him a kiss. And then before I left the room, which was one of the hardest moments of my life, was leaving him in that room. Excuse me. I looked at him and I thought to myself, that smirk to me is that look of, you thought you could stop what I've built. You thought that you could end this vision, this movement, this revival. You thought you could do that by murdering me. You got my body. You didn't get my soul.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
By that time, the video was everywhere. How do you process that?
I never saw the video. I never will see it. I never want to see it. There's certain things you see in your life that you can never unsee. There's certain things you see in your life that mark your soul forever. I don't want my husband's public assassination to be something I ever see. I don't want my kids to ever see that. And for the people who actually enjoy watching that, which is quite literally sick, what if that was your father? Or your brother, or your sister? There's a perspective shift there. We're human. Life is fragile. And there is so much beauty in this world. Why would you waste any portion of your life looking at something so evil?
Charlie was answering a question about trans violence when he was murdered. Do you think that was a coincidence?
I don't believe in coincidences.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
When everything happened, my phone died. It became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end. I've intentionally insulated myself because I need to guard my heart, and I need to be there for my kids, and I need to be there for Turning Point. And what I've realized through all of this is that everyone grieves differently. Everyone is trying to figure out, and I don't blame them, how does this happen? How does somebody become so radicalized where they can justify this in their own head? We just lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Why? How? What's behind it? Like, everyone's trying to process this. And I respect that. But where my heart is just asking for some grace is for the ones who were there that day. They have to relive that every single day. He didn't die in a car accident. He didn't die from cancer. He was assassinated. And the difference between this and previous assassinations in this country is there was no social media. There was no AI. I can tell you how many fake images are out there of all of this. And again, my only request is that just please pray and consider and think about whatever you put online, because it's going to impact his kids in the future. I don't want my kids to go on the internet one day when they're older and see things that it's just, we're all trying to process this in their own way, and I appreciate that. But just some grace would be nice.
Do you feel safe?
I do. What are they going to threaten me with? Going to heaven sooner to be with my husband? And I don't say that to be reckless. I do not. I do not say that because I'm out in the streets like, here I am, come find me. That's not at all. It's a fearlessness that's rooted in the understanding that I will have my day and my time, whenever that is. When the Lord knows that I've completed my mission. And I'm not afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid either. We never lived in fear. If we did, we wouldn't get anything done. And I can't help run alongside this mission of Turning Point USA and raise my babies with fear. I can't. That's not a life to live for anybody.
What's the hardest part of your day?
The night. Nighttime. Always. I'll tell him about my day. I talk to him all the time. But the nights are the hardest. Being in a bed by yourself. Rolling over, trying to goodnight kiss that's not there. You know, and anyone who's a widow knows what that means. Excuse me. It's so easy to take the little things for granted, but you know what's so interesting? I was thinking about this the other day. It's so easy to be in a position of feeling regret when you lose someone you love. And I tried to read a book by C.S. Lewis because he lost the love of his life. He was only married to her for 4 years. It's called A Grief Observed. And it was a very hard book to read. Not because it was about grief, but because in the opening pages he talked about how angry he was with God. And I've never felt that. I'm not angry with God. Never have been. Never have I questioned, why, Lord, are you putting me through this? Why are you testing me? Why are you? Because God is so good and he's so sovereign. And I know he uses everything, even what the enemy meant for evil. And I have no regrets. And I think that that's why processing this for me is probably different than most. Because people say, how can you do all of that you do? And it's because I loved and still love Charlie.
Did you watch the news after the assassination? Because there were some people saying that Charlie deserved to die. Mm-hmm. Charlie had it coming.
There's so much beauty in life. I don't know why you would waste your time saying somebody deserves to be publicly executed in front of everyone. That's just, why would you say that? Again, that could have been your parent, your spouse, your loved one. You think it's funny until it's someone you love? I would just ask them to really reassess their priorities in life if they get a high off of watching someone be murdered.
Jimmy Kimmel lied about your husband's murder and didn't really apologize. Mm-hmm. What would you say to Jimmy Kimmel?
Same thing I told Sinclair. They asked, I haven't really told anybody this, so they asked, do you want Jimmy to give you an apology? Do you want to be on his show? How can we make it right? Through our team, I responded. I said, tell them thank you, we received their note. This is not our issue, not our mess. We are grieving and we have an organization to run. My husband never told people what to say. You do what you think is best and right, and I prayerfully wish you the best. But I will never ask someone to give me an apology that they don't genuinely mean. That's between you and the Lord. If you want to say I'm sorry to someone who's grieving, go right ahead. But if that's not in your heart, don't do it. I don't want it. I don't need it.
Where are we going now?
He acquired and purchased all these buildings. This is the final building.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Everyone's sending all of this here. They received tens of thousands of letters, cards, gifts, personal Bibles, paintings, and more.
A lot of this is from when people came to the campus, the Turning Point USA offices, and left it outside the gates. Also, a lot has been mailed. I mean, it's just unbelievably humbling. But this is all mail. I told them not to throw anything away. I want every single card saved for my kids. And for when, if the day gets hard at your desk, you come into this mailroom, and I want you to come in, and I want you to pick up any of these cards, and I want you to read it so you can put into perspective why you work here. This is my children's favorite section. This is the section that I tell them that in heaven, Daddy he's orchestrating with his friends to send them little presents so that they never forget that Daddy's watching over them. So whenever I bring the kids here at the office, I always let them grab one thing to play with. But I mean, it's really sweet. So you remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day, so you always know you're loved? See? It is. I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby. These are from Daddy's friends. I'll read it to you.
You told your children that Charlie was going on a work trip with Jesus. Are they still asking, where's Daddy?
Yes, my daughter continues to ask. I told her the other day, because she said, I just miss Daddy, and where's Daddy? When is he coming home? And I said, baby, Daddy's still with Jesus. And I said, they are so busy. And I said, if ever you want to talk to Daddy, you just look up to the sky and start talking to him. He can hear you. It's always me, Robert. And I told her, I said, you know, Daddy is in heaven. She goes, so does that mean he's in a different house? And I said, yes, baby, he is building a house for us. Some people would say a mansion. She goes, you think I could go sometime? Excuse me. Children are so precious. I said, baby, we will all go one day. We will all go one day. It makes me speechless because it's for the kids. And that's how I can keep telling the kids, you know, Daddy's thinking about you and loves you and all these people. I mean, it's endless, which is amazing. Yes, baby.
The alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, is eligible for the death penalty if he is found guilty when this trial comes, and what a trial this will be.
It's still not over. There's a trial coming up. The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras, and why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. Let everyone see and know how it happened, how it even got to this point. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come of understanding there is never a justifiable moment for violence, especially political violence. And that's another reason why, too, I've been so open about certain private moments within our family. There's nothing to hide. Let the world see. Let them see.
On the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
You shocked a lot of people when you forgave Tyler Robinson. How did you do that?
I remember going over the speech the night before, and there was a portion in there that I remember putting about how Charlie was trying to save the lost boys of the West. He was trying to save the exact type of individual who murdered him. And when I reread that the night before, I thought it just was weighing on my heart. Forgive him. A lot of people in this world think that forgiveness is a weakness, or that when you forgive, you forget. And it's the exact opposite. It's a form of freedom. The enemy the enemy stole my husband. And if I didn't forgive, it's more so for me than this man. Because the enemy would have my heart. And I knew that every day the Lord forgives me for things. So he forgives everybody else for things, small, big. And what an example of forgiveness. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It never is easy, but it's freeing. It's so freeing. And again, it's not a weakness, but it's a way for me to be able to say, you'll never get me. You'll never get me.
Would Charlie have forgiven his killer?
He's in heaven. And he sees everything, full picture. And I truly believe that if the Lord, which this does not happen, but if the Lord gave him an option to return back to earth, and if the Lord said, this is what your death is going to be the catalyst for, do you want to go back and exchange it? He'd say no.
Wow.
He'd say no.
If convicted, do you think your husband's killer should get the death penalty?
I do not want this man's blood on my ledger when I stand before the Lord. I want the government to decide. It's biblical too. Justice will ultimately be served.
When we return, this is your first major event as CEO of Turning Point USA. You're about to go on stage. What do you think Charlie would think about all this?
He'd be blown away.
So tonight, I really am very excited to see Erika Kirk and hear her speak. She's a strong woman that shows that she can do anything, especially taking over Turning Point as the new CEO. I think she's doing a great job.
Fox was invited behind the scenes as Erika Kirk visited the University of Mississippi. The event is part of the This is the Turning Point tour. This is your first major event as CEO of Turning Point USA. You're about to go on stage. What do you think Charlie would think about all this?
He'd be blown away. He wanted, his vision for these events was stadiums. He always wanted them to be massive, and he loved them being outside, of course, but for night events, he always had this vision of packing out stadiums. He sent a picture to Tyler on our team of one of the largest university football stadiums and said, this is the goal.
It is rainy, it is cold, but students here at Ole Miss have been waiting to get into this event for hours now.
Well, you have about 10,000 people out there.
I'm humbled.
Why Ole Miss?
Well, that was a stop that Charlie had on the list, and him and JD were going back and forth on, you know, which stop they would do, and it just so happened to be this one, and we just wanted to keep everything in motion that Charlie wanted honored from the standpoint of he already had this set up. And so with everything that JD and Risha did for myself and Charlie afterwards, how could you not?
Introducing the Vice President tonight, JD Vance. He's really been there for you.
He's a blessing. Him and Risha, they are the most incredible people. Incredible. With such genuine love. I mean, just everything they did for us was so humanized. I mean, they were there for us. They were there for us.
Your husband's life was taken on a college campus. You're here now on campus. Do you feel safe?
Yes, because I feel Charlie with me here.
You feel Charlie here right now.
I know you do too.
I feel him too. Well, God bless you.
Jesse,
And God bless Turning Point USA.
The next speaker is a very, very special speaker, and she has had a heroic last year, and I believe she's the best mom in the world. Truly the best mom in the world. She is my hero and the love of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
The movement didn't die with Charlie. It's getting bigger. Half of the campus is here right now. This place is at capacity. You can feel the energy.
Charlie's murder might seem like we're standing in a shadow, as if death was the victory meant for the enemy, but looking around in this arena, you are proof that this light of truth burns so brightly.
Carrying on Charlie's legacy, Vice President Vance debated students with different viewpoints, repeatedly encouraging them to come to the front of the line.
Because we want to talk to people we agree with, we also want to hear from people we disagree with.
I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this.
I see there's a big line, and I hope I can get to everybody's question.
I have a girlfriend who's studying in America off a visa. So what is your view on legal immigration?
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate the question, and look, my honest view is that right now, America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to a lot of bad immigration policy, right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality.
The next day, Erika was back in Phoenix.
Last night was amazing. Yeah. Yes. I don't think I can ever put into words. I mean, obviously, that was my first campus. I mean, in fact, done a campus event was sitting, next to Charlie. I mean, I always got it. I always supported him for everything, but now to see it. Oh, there was a point where I couldn't even catch my breath like before we went on stage, and they played that video. That intro video.
I had to
To hear my husband say,
She is my hero and the love of my life. Erika Kirk.
she's the love of my life.
Yeah. So when we first started dating, I asked him, I was like, why do you wear a cross? I said, why? You say you're a Christian, but you don't wear a cross. He's like, I don't know, I'm not a jewelry guy. And I was like, I understand. So for his first birthday present, I got him this cross. And then throughout time, I would always add different medals to it. And so he loved St. Michael. And so, every time he put this on, he just felt like it was his armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really sweet. And he would do his signature at the end. Obviously, it's been so long since he's taken a shower at home, but I still look like it. I talk to him all the time. I'll say, baby, just give me your wisdom. Speak to me. People would say, if you can't sleep, take something to sleep. The Lord has let me sleep just fine. But I don't want to take anything. That's not how we operate. If I take anything, it'll numb me from being able to hear from the Lord and for Charlie. I want to be able to talk to him. I want to feel this so deeply, so that I know how the Lord wants to use it. And if I'm numb to that, he can't use me. But I talk to him all the time. Charlie, what do you think of this? Can you believe this happened today? Gigi said hi. And I realize that's healing. You don't ever want to stop talking about the people that you love, even though they're in heaven, especially to your babies, because that means that they're still there. I always want my husband's voice and his name to be on people's lips. He's a good man.
Well, the next time you talk to Charlie, please tell him we love him. And Erika, we love you. And thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you too.